Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Boulder Canyon here in Farming Simulator 19. I'm just going to start this one up again, although I'm just going to wait until that tractor has turned around. That one's going to turn, it's going to go up across the field, and then it's going to take that one, and it's going to come down across the field here, then it's going to go up across the field, and then it should come down and go all the way down to the other end. It should, in theory, take everything that is currently on the ground. In theory. At least that's what we hope. And then once it's done all of that, so that one will hopefully it'll just carry on and do the rowing up. And we will carry on and we will do the baling. And then we're going to have to go through and wrap all of the bales. And I was just thinking about this. You know, it's 1700 right now. We're getting towards the end of the day, and you know, one of the rules of this map is that we don't work past 8 PM. But I've been thinking we might actually have to break that rule for this one, because in real life, if you've got a whole load of grass bales that are on the ground and they need to be wrapped, you don't leave them until the following day. You stay out in the fields regardless of the time, regardless of, you know, anything, and you get those bales wrapped up. You don't leave them until the following day, because it can start to actually spoil them. You need to get them wrapped, so you stay there all night if you have to, and you get those bales all wrapped up and done. So I'm sort of thinking that that's something that we should do. We should actually do that, and we should, just for the, you know, just for doing the wrapping, that's one rule that we should actually break. Now he should turn round there and head off up across the field. So yeah, it looks like he's going to. Excellent. We'll come over this side and we'll start on this long run, and then that tractor should, the hired help, start doing full runs of the field. At least that's what I'm hoping. As long as he does full runs of the field, after there he's going up that way, and then on his way back again he should come back through and start doing the full runs that we want him to do, and everything should be wonderful and amazing. Bring that up to there like that, and release the bale like that. There we go. So yeah, we need to get these bales wrapped up. I mean, we might get them wrapped in time anyway. And looking at the current prices, or I just had a quick look before I started, at the moment it's 283, so we're still alright, I think, at the moment for doing our, for selling all of the bales. We'll sell them all tonight, so long as it stays above 250. I think 250 is our cut-off point, really. If we, so long as we get more than 250 per thousand, that's more than $1,000 per bale. And I think so long as we achieve that target, then we should be happy with it. Anything below that, and I think we should hold the bales and wait until we get a better price. But I'm quite happy with $1,000 a bale. I think that's pretty good going. Now, is that one going to keep going, or is he going to try and turn around? He's not. He's going to go right up to the other end of the field. That is absolutely fantastic. So this will be our last harvest with this baler, and also with that trailer that we've got over there. Ready for the next lot of grass, we will go and get the Stevie baler, and we're going to make ourselves some hay, which means that we're going to need to get a hay turner back here. And it might take us a little while to actually get the hay turner here. We've got a couple of trips backwards and forwards that we're going to have to make in order to get everything back here to the yard. But I think we can do it. I think we can do it, and I think we can do it in a reasonable amount of time. Now, several people said that we ought to consider getting ourselves a low loader of some kind, and we should get that for doing deliveries and stuff. I won't look at it now because time is ticking away from us, but I will look at the low loader and seriously consider using one of those for moving machinery around, although I'm not quite sure what sort of low loader we want to be looking at, because we'd have to get like a lorry and a trailer, or, you know, a truck and trailer to be able to pull a bigger low loader, and a smaller one you're not really being... You can't really take all that much stuff on it. Apart from, like, you know, we get a few small machines on there. But beyond that, I'm not really sure what sort of benefit it's going to be for us. So, I don't know about a low loader at the moment. I mean, there are different options available. But, yeah, I mean, if we're buying a hay turner, we can get a small-ish one and we can put it onto front link. We can fit the front links onto this tractor and we can do it like that so that we can carry that one back along with something that goes behind the tractor as well. So we'd be able to get round it like that. That wouldn't be an issue. We're still looking at 2 trips to the shop though, because one trip is going to need to take the trailer and also the wrapper, which we're hoping to be able to lift up onto the trailer and put on the trailer to carry back. And then the next trip is going to be bringing the... And then we can bring, you know, come back the other way and we can have the hay turner and the new trailer that we're going to get in place of that trailer. And then the next trip, though, we're going to have to take this baler back and we're going to have to get the replacement baler. And, I mean, getting the baler back here, that's a fairly straightforward thing. I don't think that we could realistically expect to unload, to either put this baler onto another trailer or get the new baler up onto a trailer. We don't have any loading ramps or anything like that, and it's definitely not something that we'd be able to lift up into position. So we wouldn't be able to do it like that, but a low loader we might be able to. Some people suggested that what we could do is we could have a low loader and lease it, even though we've got a no leasing policy on the map. And I kind of like this idea, actually, so I thought this was a good suggestion. Get the low loader and lease the low loader, run it one way, and then return it immediately once we've brought everything that we want with the low loader up to this end. So we could hook it onto the tractor here, or we could lease a truck. I mean, if we lease a truck with it, you know, the price is obviously going to go up quite substantially, but we ought to be able to do it with this tractor. There's no real reason why we couldn't do it with this tractor, and it ought to be able to cope with it. We have to get the low loader and a dolly to drag it back with, and then once we've done that, we return it. And all we're essentially doing is paying for a delivery cost. I mean, yes, we're towing it ourselves, and we are doing that bit ourselves, but we're essentially paying for a delivery cost, and thus having it delivered to our farm. And that's just going to save us having to go backwards and forwards to the dealership a couple of times. It is a bit more expensive than having to go backwards and forwards to the dealership a couple of times, but, I mean, you think about the amount of time that it takes us to do said trip to the dealership, maybe it's not so bad. You know, we've hardly got... Let's go and put this one over in for the sheep a minute. We'll go and take it over this faster. As we're over this way, we'll bring this one all the way over, and we will tip a little bit of fresh grass in for these sheep. How much have they got? That's another thing we can look at. Go into here. Grass, hay at the moment, they got 11,000. We could put 2 bales in here, and it wouldn't be out of the way. Right, we could put 2 bales in here, so we might do that. We might bring another one back here in a bit. So we'll unload that one into there. There he goes. And then we'll go off and we get another one. So we'll have a look at that. That's 14,800, and it's still... I think we could fit another bale in there quite comfortably, and that'll see us through for a while. I mean, we don't need to. I don't think we need to. I don't think it's going to be detrimental to the sheep in any way by not having another bale in there. Now, I'm going to gather up this little bit right here, and then we're going to go back up to the top end, up here, because there's one line up there that we want to gather up, and there is a few little bits of grass just kind of lying around up near the rock up here. And what is that? Oh, the hired help has decided it doesn't like it. It's given up completely. It's stopped, possibly because of the sign. Right, let's just go over to the tractor over here a minute. I know I shouldn't really do it like that. Let me start you up. Yeah, Helper H has completed their task. Because they're looking right at the grass, and apparently that's not good enough. See, literally I went forward 2 inches. And that was sufficient for it to decide, oh, well, actually, okay, maybe we will do a bit of work. It does frustrate me sometimes, the hired help. Have I ever mentioned that the hired help does sometimes frustrate me? But anyway, it's done now. It's all finished. We don't need to worry about it. We can continue on this way. So the replacement baler that we get will be the Stevie baler. I'm not going to be using much. Well, I probably won't be using any other Stevie mods on this series, because I don't think they will fit with this series. But I do think that taking a slight shortcut with the bales, I think the pickup on the baler is slightly wider, the baler works a little bit faster, and the bales are a larger capacity. I think those are acceptable shortcuts for a series like this. I think that doing just having that little bit of leeway on it is acceptable, and it's not going to be too much out of the way. It means that we've got less bales that we've got to handle and deal with at any one time, and it also means that we'll be able to get through the baling tasks a little bit faster, because everything else other than baling, we can actually set hired help going with it, and that does make a significant difference. So being able to have the bit that we've got to do ourselves all the way through sped up just a tiny bit, it will make an overall improvement to the series, I feel, because eventually, I know that the whole idea of this is hardcore, but it also, it's something that I also need to take into account, that despite that it's hardcore, it's still something that we've got to enjoy doing as we go along. And the hired help has stopped again. It's done exactly the same thing again. It's looking at it, and it's decided it doesn't like it. How far do I need to go? I'm just inching forward a bit. There. See, it wasn't even a quarter of a turn of the wheel before it decided, well, actually, yeah, all right, we'll do a bit more for you. Which is slightly daft, really. It is slightly daft, but anyway, it's fine. It's going. We'll let that one carry on and do its thing. Is it going to actually turn at that? I don't know if it's going to turn at that end. We'll see in a minute. I've got loads of grass here. Of course, remember, we've now got thicker grass down here. It's thicker here than it is up that side. And we've got to take that into account as well. I could have taken that one. No, we won't worry about taking any more round to the sheep, I don't think. Because we will have another crop being done fairly soon. And then that's all going to be hay. So we'll have a whole load of hay bales that we can put back for the sheep. And they can have those. And we'll be able to feed plenty. I don't know why I was stopping there. And seeing it get to the high 70s and thought, oh, I need to stop now. Wait. Seriously? You think you need to go travelling up that side? What is wrong with this hired help? We're going to do this ourselves. We're just going to do this ourselves because it's starting to get slightly ridiculous. And it's okay, we've only got a little tiny bit left, but, I mean, really, why is it coming up to the end of the field and saying, nope, I can see the grass in front of me, but I just can't be bothered to do any more. And then it does this at the other end, it turns around and decides it's going to go and start rowing up the bit that's already been finished. You do have to question the sanity of some of the workers up here. I'm beginning to wonder if it was worth forking out $26,000 for some accommodation for them. And, I mean, yes, they do seem for the most part to be alright, but maybe some of them not really suited to such a lonely life up here in the mountains, and they would be better off moving back down to the lowlands and being replaced by some hardier examples of humanity. I think that's what we need. I do think that's what we need. Some people just aren't suited to the lonely life of the mountains. That's all it is. It's just got too much for them. You can't cope with it. There's no McDonald's anywhere nearby, and they don't really know how to cope with this. and they're acting out. That's what it is. They don't mean to. It's just the stress of the situation has gotten too much for them, and they don't really know how to cope with it. So we will finish off this job like that. There we go. We're all done. And start folding that bad boy up. So we'll run this one back down to the yard, and we'll just park that one up there. Then we can finish off our baling, and then we got to get on the wrapper, and we got to start wrapping. And it doesn't matter what time bedtime turns up tonight, we cannot stop until the wrapping is all finished. You've got to get the bales wrapped. I've been out helping, doing wrapping until 1 o'clock in the morning because you've got to get it done. It's a job that you can't leave until the following day. That is one thing with wrapping. So we're just going to dump that one there for a minute, and I suppose really I could have walked up for that one. But yeah, it's not a job that you can just leave until the following day. You've got to get the wrap onto the bales. If you're making silage bales, you've got to get them wrapped as fast as you possibly can. The guy on the wrapper, he works some very long hours sometimes. He really does. And that's going to be us later on. So I do think that this is an acceptable exception to our rule of not working past 8 p.m. And I did ask you all yesterday what you thought of slowing time down when we start mowing. As soon as we start up the mower, we slow time down to 1 time speed. Do you think I should do that or not? Or do you think I should be trying to work around the game mechanics a little bit more and only cutting what I think that I can deal with in a single day? I think that we can cope with this field. I think maybe we sort of slowed ourselves down in places, but like this field would be about the limit of it. We'd have to do this field and get this one done. If we get another grass field, we'd have to do this one and get this one finished before we started work on another field. And maybe you think that that's how we should approach it. We should try to only not bite off more than we can chew at any one time. The wrapping, I'm gonna sort of okay that myself. I'm gonna say yes, I do think that we should be breaking our rule of working past 8 o'clock. Well, normally we would not work past 8 o'clock. Even with harvest or anything like that, we'll just say, well, no, that there's dew come down on the crop, so we can't work any later than that. But with wrapping bales, that is one job that we always, like whenever any farm I've ever worked on, that's always been one that you don't have a choice with. Right? It's not been, oh yeah, we'll leave it until morning, because by that time the bales have started to cool down. They start to heat up in the middle very, very quickly. Right? It takes next to no time at all. Like as soon as the baler is started, as soon as that bale is out on the ground, the temperature inside that bale has already started increasing. 30 minutes later, and because of how tight it is and how bound together it is, 30 minutes after that bale is made, it's already starting to get quite toasty warm inside the bale. If you leave it until, and it's that warmth that you need, that heat is quite important, and wrapping the bales helps to trap that in. The longer you leave it, like the bale will heat up to a set temperature, and then if it's not wrapped, the outside edges start to cool down and you start to get oxygen getting in, and that oxygen then starts to work on it aerobically, and that starts to rot the silage instead of ferment it. So you need the warmth inside the bale, and you need it to be sealed as rapidly as possible. If you leave it out on the ground all night and you get to it the following day, the outside edges of that bale have already started to cool down beyond what you want it to, and it's already started to cause problems. When you're making silage in a clamp, and you're spending several days making silage in a clamp, you actually, at night time, you don't just leave the clamp open because you're going back to it the following day. They roll that clamp down and they squash down every single little tiny bit of silage, that is every bit of chaff that has gone into that clamp, and that they squash the whole thing down. They will spend upwards of an hour after the last trailer load has come in properly rolling it down and then making sure it's properly rolled. And then we will put a sheet over the clamp as a temporary measure to try and hold the heat in overnight, only taking that sheet off, and we come out in the morning, we make sure that everything is ready, and then the last thing we do before we head out to the field is take the sheet off. And as soon as that sheet comes off, the next silage bales need to be coming in. The next silage trailers need to be coming in. Some places I've worked, like, we don't take that sheet off as a group activity. One person will stay back to help the man who's working the clamp, and they will start removing that sheet as we start heading out into the fields. And like, the first trailer is coming back just as that silage sheet has been removed. And as the first trailer gets back to the clamp, so the other person who's on the silage trailers, they head off to the field to go and get the next load, and the first load is being tipped and it's being spread. You keep that covered up for as long as possible before you start putting the next lot of silage in on top. It's all about retaining the heat that is inside the silage clamp. It's that important, and it does make that much of a difference. If you take that sheet off too early, or you don't properly roll it down before putting the sheet on, when you come to open up the clamp, you can very clearly see where the clamp was open during the night, or where you paused for the night to, like, you temporarily sheeted the clamp down. If you didn't roll it properly, and then you opened it up quite early, and it was open for an hour or two before the first silage started coming in, that sort of thing. When you come to open it in the winter, you can very often see where that was. There'll be a line of mold right there. You've got a line of silage that didn't make properly, right on that bit where it was left open. And it makes that much of a difference. It's that quick, and it can make that much of a difference. So the fact that leaving silage bales out in the field, I know some people have done it. I know it is done, and it still makes silage. It's never going to be as good a quality silage as if you get that thing wrapped up, which is why people on wrappers, well, certainly in this country, they will work until 2 a.m. getting those bales, or 3 a.m., even until... I've known wrappers work all night, go to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning because they've been wrapping everything that's been baled during the day, and then they go to bed and wake up when they wake up, and they come out and they start sort of mid-afternoon, they'll carry on again. And I've known that to happen. And I've known people, I've known one contracting company, their wrapper, like the tractor with the wrapper, that thing worked almost 24/7. Almost. It would like park up in the yard at like 5 a.m. and then the next person would take it at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. whenever the next round of baling started. They would be wrapping all day, and then the person who was working all night, they'd come out later on and they would take over and they'd work all night again. And the wrapper just doesn't stop. And just, it goes like that. The wrapper just keeps on going in order to stay as close behind the bales as possible, because of how important it is to keep these bales wrapped up. It's like essential. It really is. So I don't think we can, in good conscience... I've spent most of this episode trying to put forward why I'm going to break my own rules. I know. The main reason is because I know that a lot of you don't like me breaking my own rules. I make these rules and then I go and break them. But I feel I have put forward a valid and reasoned argument as to why I should be breaking my own rules. And there we have all of our silage bales. We've got a little bit more that we're going to pick up. But there we have all of our silage bales. We're all done. There's the odd little bit of grass lying around in the field. We'll leave that. We won't worry about it. And if you're running a farm where you're making your own silage bales for your sheep or for your cattle or something like that, the reason you leave it is because you turn the cattle or the sheep out into the field after you've picked all the bales up. And they go around and they eat all the long grass around the edges, and they pick up all the wisps of stuff that was left behind as well. They do a great job of it. They really do. Right, so we've done that. This one can come over here, and it can just park up here. We'll wash that one off in the morning. We're not going to do that now. That is absolutely not important right now. What we need to do is we need to get onto that wrapper and start work on that one. So to start you up, we'll go and put the rake away. No, actually the rake could do with being washed as well. So we'll leave the rake there. We'll get this wrapper on, and we will start wrapping. Are we going to finish by 8 o'clock? I don't know. We could be working late tonight. Let's bring you back over there like that. Back you up a bit. There. Right. Let's go. Start unfolding it as we go, and we need to get into these bales. So I've only got front lights on this one. We don't have any rear spotlights on this tractor. We'll put the front lights on. We're not gonna. We don't exactly need them right now, so we can leave those off for a minute. And fortunately, we do have quite a fast wrapper. We got the we got a fairly advanced version of a wrapper right here, which is absolutely brilliant. It also is auto unloading, and I'm not quite sure why it's auto unloading, because I didn't think it was a thing that even happened, but maybe it is. Let me have a look up here. Does it have an auto unload? Doesn't seem to have an auto unload. No. Right, well, I don't see an auto-unload option. No, and now it's not got one. So it might just, for whatever reason, it auto-unloaded that first bale, and I don't really know why. But yeah, I'm not going to complain about that too much. Quite happy for it to auto-unload the odd bale. There is an auto-unload mod that we'd be able to use. We could go and use that for it. And maybe I will at some point. We'll just get this bit here tipped out onto the ground. There we go, there's another one done. We're not going to finish by 8 o'clock. There's no way that we're going to be finishing this by 8 o'clock. It's just not going to happen. Even though we've got this fast wrapper, still not going to happen, is it? In the morning, we've got things that we need to wash off. There's logs on the ground that we want to deal with. We're not going to be able to sell our silage bales tonight. It's going to be too late to go and pick them up and sell them. So very likely the price of the silage bales will have dropped, which means that we're going to want to store them in the yard somewhere to wait for the price to come back up. And we can do that. Unfortunately, with the trailer that we've got, we're going to have to tip them out in a big untidy heap. But we'll be taking that trailer back to the dealership, and we'll be buying a new trailer. We'll also be returning this wrapper to the dealership, and we'll be buying a hay turner instead of this wrapper. And then the final thing that we'll be doing is we've got to make a second trip to the dealership. I'm still not sure about this whole idea of the low loader. Whether I should lease a low loader or not, and then sort of come back to it afterwards. So I'm kind of I'm of two minds of that one at the moment. I like the idea, don't get me wrong, I do like the idea of it, but I'm not sure that we should be doing that, because I mean, we are absolutely in the middle of nowhere. So I'm thinking that a low loader making the delivery out here, it probably wouldn't happen. It would be more a case of we would have to find a way of getting the machinery to us ourselves, rather than trying to do it any other way. That would be my guess. That's how I would kind of picture it working, is that we would have to figure out a way of getting these things ourselves rather than doing it any other way. And therefore, it would be unlikely that like a dealership would have a low loader available to deliver anything. And we'd have to figure out our own ways of getting these deliveries, going and picking them up, collecting them, maybe arranging for the odd delivery, but that's, it gets expensive doing that, doesn't it? Alright, let's tip you off. And alright, it's always over here. I've gone down to 30 frames a second. Yeah, it's down to 30 frames a second again. There's an area over here on this map where I constantly get 30 frames a second. It doesn't seem to matter what I'm doing over this side of the map, over this side of the field. It always seems to be on 30, but only when I'm facing sort of that direction. That way, I get 30. If I look that way, it goes up. Actually, it did go up temporarily, and then it went down again. So yeah, there is something to do with the map that's giving me only... Oh no, I'm alright here. It's if I face back over that way, it's now changing again. Really know why they did. We got a lot of bales out. Look at all these bales we got out in this field. This is going to take a while. Right, we're going to be here a little while. I think that this is going to take us until possibly 9 o'clock by our time, with the way that we have time ticking along. Maybe we can do it a little bit quicker than that. Maybe we can. But we do have a lot of bales here on the ground. I don't know how many we will have done altogether in this well, we can have a look at how many we've done in this one session, because we can just go here. We created 31 bales today, but we'd also done the ones around the edge of the field, which I think was 18 bales. And I'd already done a load in this field in yesterday's episode, which aren't going to show up on that little list. So I'd done sort of the stuff from the rock over towards the sawmill today, and that was 31 bales. And then we've also got all of these over this side as well. These are extra. So we've got at least another 31 bales to wrap yet. At least. Maybe more than that. And this is definitely going to take us a while. Let's go up there and grab that one next. But you can sort of start to see, I mean, if this wrapper was on normal speed, this one's on double speed, right? If this was on a normal speed, we would be here for a very long time doing this wrapping. And this is why I want the Stevie baler as well, because I think he's sped up the speed of the wrapping cycle on his baler, and even if he hasn't, he's taking 8,000 litres on each bale rather than 4,000 litres, and that is quite a crucial difference. It means that we will have time to completely make a new bale before we have to wrap the old one. It's still faster, even if you're just using like the normal slow time for the wrapping. It's still faster to use the Stevie one. It's still faster to use the wrapper baler combo, because you're getting the wrapping done while you're making the next bale. And yes, you may have to pause and wait for the bale to finish wrapping, but it's still faster doing the two jobs at once than it is doing it like this. So we will save ourselves a bit of time. I just really like the idea of having the 8,000 litre bales. It's going to make a big difference to us, because it's going to be less bales that we're going to have to handle, less bales that we're going to have to move around, and the overall job is just going to get done that much faster as well. Let's just tip that one out down there. We're not going to have time in today's episode to quite finish this, I don't believe. That one there. We'll go and get these few bales up on this side. We've got more bales over here than I thought we had. We get these done up here, and then we'll have to finish the last of them in at the beginning of tomorrow's episode. Then we can get some much needed sleep, and then we will gather all the bales up. But I suspect by that time the price of bales will have dropped considerably. If we have a quick look in here, silage is already down to 268, and we want a minimum of 250 per 1,000 litres. So yeah, we'll take the bales that we've made and we will stash them back in the yard. We're going to change our trailer, like we said, and we're also going to sell this one, and we're going to bring back a hay turner as well. So once we get the new trailer back, we can use that. It's another auto-load trailer. It just works a bit better than the one that we've got at the moment. So once we get that one back and we get that one going on it, it should make life a little bit easier for us. At least that's what I'm hoping. We'll be able to stack the bales neat and tidy in the yard using it. One thing I didn't do in yesterday's episode was I didn't actually put the time scale to 30 times speed when I was going around gathering up all the round bales on the autoload trailer. Completely forgot about that, which is something that I should have done. Because, well, I only actually asked you for when I was using the logging trailers, but pretty much everybody said if I'm going to implement that rule, I should also be doing it when I'm picking up bales. So I will remember to do that in tomorrow's episode, I hope. I probably won't. I'll probably have to come up with some sort of penalty to pay for it, but there we go. I'm kind of glad that at the moment, I didn't put it on to 30 times speed, because quite frankly, look at this. It's getting very, very dark right now, and it would be a lot further along. But we have run out of time now for today's episode, so we'll wrap this up now. If you've enjoyed the episode, then please hit down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. Tomorrow we will finish doing this, and then we will see about going and buying our new trailer. I think we might go and buy the new trailer before we clear the bales off the field. Something I don't know. I'll think about that tomorrow. But anyway, until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.